Good evening, everyone. Pain is something we instinctively avoid. It's human nature to protect ourselves from discomfort, rejection, failure, and heartbreak. But tonight, I want to challenge that instinct. I want to talk about the moments when we sit in the hurt, lean into it, and recognize it for what it truly is: a catalyst for growth, a mirror of our resilience, and a teacher we didn't know we needed. Vulnerability is often misunderstood. Yeah. A world that celebrates strength, achievement, and independence, vulnerability is viewed as a weakness, a flaw, something to be guarded against. We are taught to build walls, to project confidence, and to keep our true selves hidden behind a facade. The idea that we might show our raw, unpolished selves, flawed, imperfect, and deeply human, feels like an invitation for judgment or failure. But what if vulnerability is not our enemy, but our greatest ally? What if it is, in fact, a gift and essential part of our journey toward authenticity and true connection? When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we are opening up to the full spectrum of human experience. Vulnerability is not just about exposing our weaknesses or failures, but about showing up as our truest, most unfiltered selves. It's about being honest with ourselves and others, about acknowledging our fears, our insecurities, and the parts of us that are still healing. It's about daring to be seen in a world that often values perfection over authenticity. Think about the times in your life when you've been most connected to another person. The moments of true intimacy, the conversations where you feel understood, seen, and heard, are almost always born from vulnerability. It is in these moments of openness that we build trust, compassion, and empathy. We connect on a deeper level, not because we are flawless, but because we are real. But here's the paradox: it is precisely because vulnerability feels uncomfortable, risky, and even scary that it has the potential to transform us. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we are embracing uncertainty. We are stepping into the unknown without the guarantee of protection or success. It is this uncertainty, this willingness to take emotional risks, that leads to growth. Let's look at vulnerability in the context of personal growth. So often we resist facing our own emotions because we fear the pain they may bring. We think that if we allow ourselves to feel deeply, whether it's grief, shame, fear, or even joy, it will overwhelm us. But in reality, by avoiding vulnerability, we are denying ourselves the opportunity to heal, to learn, and to evolve. It's through our willingness to feel, to explore, and to express our emotions that we develop the tools to navigate them more effectively. Moreover, vulnerability creates space for self-compassion. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we are essentially saying, I am enough, even in my imperfection. I am worthy of love and connection, even in my struggles. This shift in mindset is incredibly empowering. It allows us to stop seeking external validation and start embracing our intrinsic worth. Vulnerability is an invitation to practice self-love in its purest form, unconditional, without conditions, without needing to prove ourselves. Vulnerability also leads to growth because it challenges us to confront our deepest fears. When we are vulnerable, we put ourselves in a position where we may be rejected, criticized, or misunderstood. And while these experiences may sting in the moment, they also teach us resilience. They help us understand that rejection does not diminish our worth, and that imperfection is a shared human experience. In this way, vulnerability helps us develop emotional resilience, the ability to bounce back stronger from hardship and disappointment. Perhaps the most profound gift of vulnerability is that it opens us up to the possibility of true connection. When we show up authentically without the need to impress, without the masks we wear to protect ourselves, we invite others to do the same. Vulnerability creates a safe space for others to drop their defenses and be real with us. It builds the foundation for deeper relationships based not on surface-level interactions, but on mutual understanding and trust. In our relationships, whether with friends, family, or romantic partners, vulnerability is the key to intimacy. When we allow ourselves to be seen, we allow others to see us in our entirety. This doesn't mean sharing every detail of our lives or oversharing in every situation, but it does mean being willing to be open about the parts of ourselves that matter most. It means being willing to share our hopes, dreams, struggles, and fears, and in doing so, inviting others to do the same. In a world that often encourages us to hide our vulnerabilities, we must remind ourselves that it is through these moments of openness that we discover our truest strength. Vulnerability is not about weakness, it is about courage. It is the courage to be imperfect, to show up authentically, and to trust that in doing so, we will find connection, growth, and healing. So, the next time you feel the urge to protect yourself, to close off, or to hide your true feelings, remember this vulnerability is a gift. It is the doorway to authenticity, resilience, and connection. And though it may feel uncomfortable, pain is often seen as something to avoid or escape. We do everything we can to shield ourselves from it, whether through distractions, numbing, or trying to make it go away as quickly as possible. But what if, instead of being an obstacle, pain could be a guide? What if pain, in all its rawness, could help us understand who we are, what we need, and what is most important in our lives? Pain, in its many forms, whether emotional, physical, or psychological, has an inherent ability to point us in the direction we need to go. It serves as a compass, signaling when something in our life is out of alignment with our values, desires, or needs. When we experience pain, we are often facing the tension between where we are and where we need to be. It is a signal that something is off track, urging us to reflect and reassess our choices, behaviors, and path. The first step in seeing pain as a compass is to accept that it's not something to be feared or suppressed. Pain is a natural part of being human, and often it serves as the catalyst for the most significant changes and realizations in our lives. If we look at pain not as an enemy to fight, but as a message to interpret, we begin to realize its potential as a guide. One of the clearest ways pain serves as a compass is by signaling when we have drifted away from our core values. Our values are the things that matter most to us. They are the principles that define who we are, what we stand for, and how we want to live our lives. When we experience pain, it often points to a disconnection between our values and our current circumstances. For example, if you value honesty and integrity, but find yourself in a situation where you are compromising those values, the resulting pain is a sign that something needs to change. This kind of pain is not just emotional, it can show up physically as well. Have you ever felt a physical ache or tension when you're in a situation that doesn't feel right? Maybe it's a job you know isn't fulfilling you, or a relationship that's no longer serving you. That physical discomfort can be a signal that something in your life is misaligned with your inner truth. Pain, in this sense, forces you to confront these misalignments and take action toward change. Pain also serves as a compass when it comes to recognizing our unmet needs. Often we experience emotional pain when our needs, whether for connection, support, respect, or love, are not being met. This pain is a wake-up call that invites us to take a closer look at what is truly lacking in our lives. What do we need to feel more whole, more balanced, more at peace? Pain points us to those areas of our life where we need to nourish and care for ourselves more intentionally. Consider the pain of loneliness, for example. When we feel isolated or disconnected from others, it's a signal that we need to cultivate deeper relationships, reach out for support, or find a community where we feel a sense of belonging. Similarly, the pain of exhaustion may indicate that we are not taking care of ourselves adequately. Perhaps we are pushing ourselves too hard or neglecting our mental and physical well-being. The pain in these cases becomes a guide for what needs to shift in order for us to live in a healthier and more fulfilling way. Pain can also help us recognize when we are out of touch with our true selves. In a world that often pressures us to conform to external expectations, we may find ourselves living a life that doesn't reflect who we truly are or what we truly want. We may be chasing goals that aren't aligned with our authentic desires or trying to live up to someone else's standards of success. The resulting pain is a reminder that we are not honoring our true selves. It's an invitation to reconnect with our own aspirations, to rediscover our purpose, and to align our actions with what brings us joy, fulfillment, and meaning. In addition to guiding us back to our values, needs, and true self, pain can also point us toward growth. In many cases, pain arises when we are stretched beyond our comfort zone, forced to confront something that challenges us or requires us to change. This kind of pain can be uncomfortable, but it's often in these moments that we grow the most. Whether it's the pain of failure, rejection, or disappointment, these experiences can push us to develop new skills, cultivate resilience, and build a stronger sense of self. I think about how many times you faced a challenge that initially felt insurmountable, only to look back and realize that it was the very thing that helped you evolve. Pain may lead to moments of deep introspection, forcing you to evaluate your decisions and refine your approach. But these moments of discomfort are often the catalyst for your greatest breakthroughs, teaching you lessons that will serve you for the rest of your life. It's also important to recognize that pain doesn't just point to negative aspects of life, it can also highlight where something deeply meaningful exists. Sometimes we experience pain because we care deeply about something or someone. This type of pain is a reflection of how much something matters to us, whether it's a passion we pursue, a relationship we value, or a cause we believe in. Pain here serves as a reminder of the things that bring us fulfillment, and it urges us to protect and nurture those precious parts of our lives. The ultimate gift of seeing pain as a compass is that it gives us the opportunity to take control of our lives. When we allow ourselves to acknowledge and sit with our pain, we are giving ourselves permission to listen to the messages it offers. Rather than feeling like victims of circumstance, we can start to see pain as an empowering force, one that guides us, challenges us, and ultimately helps us become the best versions of ourselves. The next time you experience pain, don't automatically assume it's something to run from or avoid. Instead, pause and ask yourself, what is this pain telling me? What is this moment trying to teach me about who I am and what I need? Pain can be the most honest reflection of where we are and where we need to go. It's a powerful tool that, if we allow it, can guide us toward a more aligned, authentic, and fulfilled life. Audible or even risky. It is through vulnerability that we truly find ourselves and one another. In a world that thrives on speed, efficiency, and constant motion, we are often taught to push through discomfort, avoid pain, and quickly move past our struggles. We live in a culture that prioritizes productivity and the appearance of having it all together. The message is clear: don't stop. Don't dwell on your emotions. Don't give space to the hurt. Just keep moving forward as if the pain will go away by simply ignoring it. But what if, instead of running from pain, we learn to sit with it? What if we allowed ourselves to feel it, to fully experience it, and to embrace the discomfort rather than bypass it as quickly as possible? There is an immense strength in sitting with our emotions and confronting them head on instead of distracting ourselves with endless tasks or temporary fixes. It is in these moments of stillness and reflection that true healing begins, and our inner resilience grows. Sitting with pain isn't easy. It goes against everything we've been conditioned to believe. We live in a world where happiness is often seen as the ultimate goal, and anything that disrupts our comfort is viewed as an obstacle to be overcome. So when we encounter difficult emotions, grief, sadness, frustration, fear, it's natural to want to avoid them. We want to move on quickly, to find a way to fix it. Yet, in this rush, we miss out on the depth of the experience and the opportunity for growth that is embedded in the very pain we seek to escape. The strength in sitting with pain is not about pretending the hurt isn't there or trying to simply think positive until it fades away. It's about allowing ourselves to acknowledge the emotion without judgment. It's about being honest with ourselves about what we're feeling and allowing space for it to exist. When we sit with pain, we stop fighting it. We stop denying its presence and pretending that everything is okay when it's not. We give ourselves permission to feel, to grieve, to be upset, and to not have all the answers. Sitting with pain allows us to truly process what we are experiencing. Too often, we try to avoid our feelings by numbing them, whether through work, substance use, or even excessive busyness. These distractions may offer temporary relief, but they don't allow us to deal with the underlying emotions that need attention. When we numb pain, we also numb the capacity for joy, for connection, and for healing. We end up pushing away all the feelings, both good and bad, that are part of being human. In contrast, when we sit with pain, we give ourselves the opportunity to truly feel it and understand its roots. What is this pain telling us? Is it the result of a loss, a betrayal, or an unmet need? Is it a reflection of our deepest fears or an unresolved conflict? Pain, if we let it, is a messenger that carries valuable information about our inner world. By sitting with it, we can begin to uncover the truth beneath the surface, the underlying fears, desires, or experiences that need attention. In this way, sitting with pain becomes a form of self-awareness, a practice of deepening our connection to ourselves. One of the most powerful aspects of sitting with pain is that it allows us to release the grip of shame that often accompanies difficult emotions. We live in a world that tells us we should always be happy, productive, and in control. When we experience pain, we can feel like we failed, like we are broken or weak. But when we sit with pain, we give ourselves permission to be imperfect. We acknowledge that pain is not a sign of weakness, it is simply part of the human experience. It is a reminder that we are alive, that we care, and that we are capable of enduring, healing, and growing. Sitting with pain also cultivates patience both with ourselves and with others. Healing is rarely a quick or linear process. It requires time, reflection, and an acceptance that there are no shortcuts. When we sit with pain, we give ourselves the grace to take the time we need to heal. We stop rushing the process or expecting immediate relief. Instead, we learn to honor the ebb and flow of emotions, knowing that the healing process takes time. Just as a wound needs time to close and heal, our hearts and minds need time to recover from the challenges we face. In addition, sitting with pain teaches us resilience. Resilience is not about being unaffected by hardship, it is about our ability to endure, adapt, and grow through adversity. When we sit with pain, we are building the muscles of emotional resilience. We are teaching ourselves that we can handle discomfort, that we can survive difficult emotions, and that we are capable of bouncing back. Each time we sit with a painful emotion, we strengthen our ability to face future challenges with greater courage and confidence. We develop the understanding that we are not defined by our pain, but by how we respond to it. Moreover, sitting with pain opens up the space for empathy and connection with others. When we embrace our own vulnerability and sit with our pain, we become more attuned to the pain of others. We develop a deeper understanding of what it means to suffer and to heal. We are better able to offer support and compassion to those around us because we recognize the shared humanity in the struggles we all face. Sitting with pain reminds us that we are not alone in our suffering. It connects us to others who are navigating their own challenges. Perhaps one of the most profound aspects of sitting with pain is the opportunity it provides for growth. Pain is not something we should fear or avoid. It is the soil in which resilience, strength, and wisdom can grow. When we allow ourselves to sit with pain, we can move through it with greater insight and clarity. We learn more about ourselves, our needs, and our boundaries. We discover our capacity for endurance and our ability to find meaning even in the most difficult moments. The next time you encounter pain, whether it's the loss of something or someone dear to you, the sting of failure, or the weight of uncertainty, resist the urge to rush past it. Instead, sit with it. Allow yourself the space to feel, to process, and to learn from it. Trust that in time, this discomfort will pass, and you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more connected to your true self. There is immense power in sitting with pain. It's where growth happens, where healing begins, and where we discover the depth of our own strength. That hurt is an unavoidable part of the human experience. It can arise from many sources: the loss of a loved one, a betrayal by someone we trusted, the sting of rejection, or the aching recognition that we've been misunderstood. In these moments, the world can seem cold and isolating, and we may feel as if we are the only ones enduring such pain. But what if the very hurt we experience could be more than just something to endure or overcome? What if it could serve as a gateway to deeper empathy, understanding, and connection with others? Empathy, the ability to understand and share the feelings of another, is often viewed as a trait that some people have more naturally than others. We might admire those who seem effortlessly compassionate, who always seem to know the right thing to say or do when someone is suffering. However, empathy is not just a natural gift, it is something that can be cultivated, and in many ways it is born from our own experiences of pain. When we experience hurt, we are confronted with the reality of vulnerability. Pain lays us bare, exposing our weaknesses, our fears, and our desires in a way that nothing else can. In these moments, we are reminded that we are human, and as much as we might want to protect ourselves from this discomfort, it is through this vulnerability that we begin to relate to others on a deeper level. Hurt strips away the layers of armor we so often wear to protect ourselves from the world, and in doing so, it opens us up to a greater understanding of what others are going through. The link between hurt and empathy lies in our capacity to feel for others who are experiencing similar pain. When we have been hurt, we are able to recognize the same hurt in others. This recognition is the first step toward empathy. It allows us to connect on a deeply human level because we have felt the same kind of ache, the same kind of longing, and the same kind of heartbreak. It is through our own pain that we develop the emotional bandwidth to hold space for the pain of others. Consider how grief works. When we lose someone close to us, it can feel like our world is shattering. We may experience an overwhelming sense of loneliness, sadness, and confusion. At the same time, this pain opens our hearts to the grief of others. When we hear someone else's story of loss, we are able to understand their pain, not just from an intellectual perspective, but from a deeply emotional one. We know what it feels like to grieve, to mourn, to navigate life without someone we love. Because of our own hurt, we can offer genuine compassion and comfort. Our ability to empathize becomes richer and more meaningful because it is grounded in our own lived experience. This process of connecting through hurt isn't limited to experiences of grief, it extends to all forms of pain. The pain of rejection, for example, can help us understand what it feels like to be ignored or dismissed. The sting of failure can make us more compassionate toward others who are struggling with their own shortcomings. When we face difficult times, we often become more attuned to the struggles of those around us. We begin to recognize that pain is a universal experience, something that crosses all boundaries of age, race, gender, and circumstance. It's part of what makes us human. And as we experience pain, we begin to see it in others, and we feel compelled to reach out, to offer support, or simply to listen. Moreover, hurt helps us develop a non-judgmental attitude toward the pain of others. When we experience suffering ourselves, we become less likely to criticize or judge those who are going through their own challenges. It's easy to dismiss the pain of others when we haven't faced something similar, but once we've walked through our own hardship, we realize how complex and nuanced suffering can be. Hurt teaches us that there is no one-size-fits-all experience of pain, just because someone else's struggle looks different from ours does not mean it is any less significant. We learn to approach the pain of others with humility and openness without trying to diminish or invalidate their experience. Hurt also teaches us about the strength and resilience of the human spirit. When we face challenges, we discover new reserves of strength that we didn't know we had. We learn to endure, to rise after falling, and to carry on even when the path seems unclear. It is through our own hurt that we come to appreciate the courage it takes for others to keep going in the face of adversity. This recognition leads to greater compassion as we begin to see that everyone is fighting their own battles, often hidden from view. The shared understanding that we are all doing the best we can in the face of pain fosters a deeper empathy between people. There is also something profoundly healing about expressing empathy toward others. When we see someone else in pain and offer them comfort or understanding, we create a sense of solidarity. In offering empathy, we not only help the other person feel seen and heard, but we also help ourselves process our own pain. Empathy can be a form of healing for both the giver and the receiver. It reminds us that we are not alone in our suffering, and that together we can navigate the difficult times. Furthermore, hurt as a gateway to empathy allows us to break down the walls of isolation. It can be easy to feel like we are the only ones going through a particular hardship, especially when we look at the curated lives of others on social media or in the public eye. But when we open ourselves to the idea that everyone experiences hurt, whether in small or large ways, we begin to see others not as separate from us, but as fellow travelers on the same journey. We all carry pain, and that shared experience becomes a bridge, connecting us in ways that we might never have imagined. Lastly, hurt as a gateway to empathy transforms our capacity for forgiveness. When we understand that hurt is part of being human, we become less likely to hold grudges or harbor resentment. We begin to realize that those who have caused us pain have also experienced hurt in their own lives. They too are imperfect, and like us, they are doing their best to navigate the complexities of the human experience. This understanding does not mean we should condone harmful behavior, but it does mean that we approach others with a more compassionate and forgiving heart. In essence, hurt is not just something to be avoided or feared. It is a powerful catalyst for empathy, allowing us to deepen our understanding of others and connect in ways that transcend the surface-level interactions that so often define our world. Through our own pain, we gain access to the hearts of others. We learn to listen with more compassion, to offer support more freely, and to see the shared humanity in everyone we meet. Hurt, in this sense, is a gift, a gateway to a deeper, more meaningful connection with the world around us.as. We conclude, I invite you to reflect on this. Hurt is not something we should shy away from or view as an obstacle to our happiness. It is, in fact, an essential part of what makes us human. It has the power to break us open, to teach us, and perhaps most importantly, to connect us with one another in ways that nothing else can. By sitting with our pain, embracing vulnerability, and allowing it to guide us toward greater empathy, we unlock the potential for healing, growth, and understanding. We realize that we are never truly alone in our struggles, that our hurt can be the very thing that brings us closer to others. And in the process, we come to understand that empathy isn't just a skill or a virtue, it's a gift we give to ourselves and to those around us. So when you face moments of hurt, instead of turning away, lean into it. Allow it to be the gateway to deeper connection, to richer understanding, and to a more compassionate world. The strength and beauty we find in our shared vulnerability can be a beacon of hope, not only for ourselves, but for everyone we encounter. Thank you.